All right, good evening. We are back here at the Men's Fellowship Bible Study on Hebrews the seventh, eighth,
Seven.
seventh. Who wants to start us off with reading the Word?
I can go.
All right, Matt.
I'm ready. Unless hopefully I have the right, the King James version going here. All right. If it's wrong, let me know. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham, returning from the slaughter of the kings, and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all. First, let me interject. That's something that the guy was talking about. He said, if this guy is important enough to get 10%, a tenth.
It's called Green Tree.
Green tree. Okay.
Are we? All right. So anyway, to whom Abraham gave a tenth part of all, which is substantial. First being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually. Now consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils. And verily they that are of the sons of Levi, who receive the office of the priesthood, have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the law, that is, of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham. But he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham, and blessed him that had the promises. And without all contradiction, the less is blessed of the better. And here men that die receive tithes, but there he receiveth them of whom it is witnessed that he liveth. And as I may say, Levi also, who receiveth tithes, pays tithes in Abraham. For he was yet of the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. If therefore perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law, what further need was there that another priest should rise after the order of Melchizedek, and not be called after the order of Aaron? For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. For he of whom these things are spoken pertaineth to another tribe, of which no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is evidence that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. And it is yet far more evident, for after the similitude of Melchizedek, there ariseth another priest, who is made not after the law of a carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life. For he testifieth, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. For there is verily a disannulling of the commandment going before for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of better hope did, by which we draw nigh unto God. And inasmuch as not without an oath he was made priest. For those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath by him that said unto him, the Lord swear and will not repent, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Anybody else want to jump in?
By so much more, Jesus has become a surety of a better covenant. Also, there were many priests because they were prevented by death from continuing. But he, because he continues forever, has an unchangeable priesthood. Therefore, he is also able to save to the uttermost those who come to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them. For such a high priest was fitting for us, who is holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners, and has become higher than the heavens, who does not need daily, as those high priests, to offer up sacrifices, first for his own sins and then for the people's. For this he did once for all when he offered up himself. For the law appoints as high priests men who have weaknesses. But the word of the oath, which came after the law, appoints the Son, has been perfected forever.
It was interesting because the video I watched about it, he really goes in the depth about some of the. I mean, this is hard stuff to interpretate.
Yeah, dude, I'll give you that much.
And how does it? But he had it figured out in a way that made sense. You know, that ties into Jesus and how everything is with this, which if I just read this, it really wouldn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that video is 20 minutes, which is probably more than any of our attention spans. But boy, it's interesting.
Where was the video? What?
There's a guy named Sam Shimon, and he's an apologist and a Bible scholar, and he's been doing it, for many years. And I watch him sometimes. He's on YouTube. A very knowledgeable guy, and he's really good at breaking stuff down like this. So, have you ever heard of Sam Shimon?
No.
Most of his content is like debunk it. Like he has like a live stream, and then he has like.
Well, he's an apologist.
Yeah, then he has like.
He debates Muslims.
Yeah, Muslims come on, and then he debates them over like the Trinity.
He also debates other religions, but he also gives hours-long classes on just theology and But he pretty much has the Bible memorized, the Quran memorized. He's.
Yeah, and he knows Hebrew too.
Yeah. Anyway, I drank a bunch of water, guys. Right before I came in, I was running through.
When you gotta go,
Yeah, you gotta go.
you gotta go.
That's it.
You know what the writer of Hebrews is doing beyond this is he's showing how Jesus is the better high priest than
He's the final high
he is.
priest.
He is, and unlike the priesthood that would eventually, one priest dies off and another. That sort of thing that can eventually end. They're talking about Melchizedek as one that's different from that. And he just mentioned here in this chapter that Jesus did not come from the tribe of Levi. That was the priesthood, was the tribe of Levi, but comes from Judah. But he comes not as one of those priests with the old temple, but as one after Melchizedek, who was priest forever.
And that totally messed up the whole order of things.
And Melchizedek is a mystery. He really is. There's a mystery there about who Melchizedek is. But Abraham was blessed. We were talking a while ago about peace or war. Did you notice what he says at the very beginning there about Melchizedek at the very beginning of
Abraham coming home from war and gave him 10% of what he'd gotten during the war.
Abraham coming home from war, and he blessed him.
which you know you think,
Melchizedek blessed Abraham, but Abraham gave him a tenth of everything he'd gotten.
I understand, but there was a blessing after he's coming. There was a purpose in that war that Abraham warred against those kings, just as there was a purpose later on for the nation of Israel to conquer the tribes, those pagans that were in the promised land. So sometimes war is a part of what God's purpose is.
well, yeah. Ooh.
I'm not saying that that's the same. I don't want to compare that to Iran, but David was a warrior. David was blessed by God, and in some ways, David was blessed, of course, with his kingship as that great king of the nation. But at the same time, he didn't get the blessing of being able to build the temple because his hands were bloody.
Yeah.
So the whole thing of peace and war,
Well, I'd say that war is sometimes required to then have peace.
I always say war, what is it good for?
Well, it can be good-
Absolutely nothing.
Just
Oh.
kidding. It's a song.
It's a song, yeah, that's about it.
But
Somebody
yeah,
made money off that song.
You know, God is
whatever
not
reason.
shy of war.
no.
He talks about the angels with flaming swords in Revelation.
Yeah, the angels are warriors.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's his, but that's one way in which we, like Bear was saying, God says, vengeance is mine. God is the one who will take vengeance, and of course, that will be done by his hosts of angels.
Well, I always interpret that as like, like when you die, it'll be your judgment. You know.
Vengeance,
Yeah, like, because if you're,
when you die,
Yeah, if
he's
he
going to
judges
take out
you.
vengeance
Yeah.
on your,
yeah, if you die and you're not in the book of life,
oh,
and he sends you to hell or whatever, then that's having vengeance.
that's having judgment, certainly, yeah, judging, you're being judged, and that's the punishment, yeah.
Which
He's
wouldn't that
the
be
only
like
one.
vengeance?
Well, you could, I guess, supposedly, yeah. It's vengeance is more, in my thinking, a purpose is the purpose of taking a life vengeance, or is the purpose judgment? It may be two different things.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
But
If
Melchizedek,
you run over my grandson, or you do something to one of my grandchildren, or one of my children, and I go and kill you,
Yeah, it's vengeance.
that's vengeance.
Exactly.
The judgment
That's
is,
revenge. That's vengeance. I'm not going to wait on no judge. I'm not going to wait on no jury.
An eye for an eye.
I'm going to revenge. I'm going to avenge.
yeah,
You heard that impression?
That's where you got to sit and say,
That's wrong.
God says vengeance is mine. I'm not supposed to do that. I got to let.
Well, then you could also say, but then Judge Dredd would say, your judgment is death. So,
yeah,
judgment and vengeance can have interchangeable.
the same,
if you, depends on how
same
you look at it.
outcome, huh?
Yeah.
well,
I don't know.
remember,
We're just getting into the words. here,
judges,
so.
though, with a judge, you know, and judgment, you know what I mean? So, that's a law, that's based on law,
Yeah, but it's just we're
right?
getting into the words here.
Well, yeah, think about, that's true, though, it's, judgment's based on law, so you have a judge, which would be God.
Well, no, judgment's not based on law. Judgment is just your
Well, the root, what's the
perception
word?
of somebody else, basically.
Well, I'm talking about like the root meaning of the word, you know what I mean, judge,
When you're being judged, it's
Right.
based on the law.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
by
for the
jury,
word itself.
whatever jury judge you, hey man, you gonna do 20 years, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
We're gonna let you out next day.
Well, or I could think,
Well, yeah, hopefully,
man,
Yeah,
like,
Uh,
They are
that's
now,
that's
what
the
they're
swinging
doing
door
now.
they got these days,
yeah, no, you're right,
and they let them out,
that's right,
and then they commit again.
that's right.
It's a laughing thing.
You would think that God would not need to take vengeance. He is the judge and jury. He judges righteously, and then his judgment is according. As a result of his judgment, he can judge whether you suffer for failing to
Your
accept
sins,
him or
your
believe in
sins.
him. So judgment the punishment then for judgment is a righteous punishment. But I guess God, I know the scripture says that vengeance is His. I think He's saying to us that we're not to be those who
There you go. Yeah. It's his
take,
and not ours.
take
to-
the responsibility for carrying out judgment against them. We allow God to do that. In the end, God will do that. We don't have to take out vengeance because He will, in the end, judge them for their sin.
And however
Right. I
you
don't have to
judge-
hate the Jews for killing Jesus Christ.
Well, no, because
God will take care of that for rejecting His Son.
you know,
The Lord is sworn and will not relent. You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. There's not going to be another order. Billy Graham died, but he was building his information that he passed upon off of Jesus Christ Himself. There's not going to be another foundation on which we can build and establish the church on.
Right.
Jesus Christ is it, just like Melchizedek was it before Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is it. There's not going to be another.
No.
There's no looking for somebody else to come. The way has been given, and it's the only way we're going to get. We're not going to change God's mind. We're not going to get Him to sway from what He has already laid out. We follow the way, or we burn in hell. That's just the way it is. The vengeance will be His because all those that didn't adhere to the way that He gave, they're going to suffer and not be found written in the Lamb's Book of Life, and they're the ones that's going to go be cast into the burning fire.
It's the same.
And that's
yesterday, today.
that's about where we at.
tomorrow.
It's not up to us. It's up to
Or will it be like in the Wyatt Earp movie? When they said it, vengeance wasn't what he was looking for, it was a reckoning is what he was looking for.
That's right.
Making things right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I reckon that's
Maybe.
good old.
Gonna have a reckoning.
Yeah, I love that. I love
A
that.
reckoning.
It makes you think of the the cowboy with the, kind of dispensing their own justice.
I'm just joshing.
And we were talking about the war horse a while ago. I heard a sermon this morning, and the preacher was talking about Jesus didn't ride in on Palm Sunday on a donkey. He rode in on a war horse.
On Palm Sunday,
Looked like a, or yeah,
a
Look.
war horse.
it looked like a donkey, but it was a war horse. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he's saying it represented really more than he had much more power as he entered in than a man on a donkey.
It was a very fine war horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been setting things on its ear ever since. It messed up the flow of the tithes.
Yeah.
Because it ain't all coming through the Levitical priesthood, because now you don't have to be from that tribe to be called by God to serve. You can be from another tribe. And Jesus showed us that by being from the tribe of Judah. Makes sense to me.
And those words that concept really made them mad. Let me tell you what, those guys, the Pharisees, boy, they didn't want to hear that.
well, what they were
Kinda like
doing
the
was
Musketeers and the
they were
Catholic
expecting
Church,
things
wasn't
from people of Israel that they themselves couldn't, because they got so lost in the letter of the law and all these rituals and following it. You were talking about it at church the other day.
And,
They
and
couldn't see what was actually happening because they were blinded by the law.
Well, and you know what? Something I thought about that I had a revelation of that was really powerful is that when Jesus was condemning them in public, at the temple, he literally laid out to them exactly what they needed to do to be redeemed. He told them what they were doing wrong, and then he told them the right thing
What
to
it
do.
should be.
And instead of listening, they were so prideful that they just let themselves feel disrespected when in reality he was just trying to
Yeah.
give them a chance, you know, to make the right decision. I thought, wow, that's powerful. You know, it really shows you the mindset of those people.
Well, you know what's amazing
To
is they're
redeem
still like
themselves,
that
yeah.
today. They
To
haven't
correct
changed any.
themselves.
Yep. But
They're
they
still-
think they're
Still
better.
looking for the
don't
Messiah.
feel
Yeah, I mean, there's, and a lot of them have never even read the New Testament. To you know,
Isn't it interesting that in that story of the Jesus coming into Jerusalem on the colt, the Pharisees were already deciding they were going to kill him. They were going to get him killed, but they said, we won't do it right now, because if we do it during the feast, the people will all be upset. Instead of saying, we won't do it during the feast because this is an important time for us to worship God.
No.
They didn't see it that, they weren't focused on what the event of Passover was all about. They were just concerned about people getting upset with them,
Was it about the power?
just like politicians.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
like politicians.
And we all holler at our TVs, you know, we all holler at our TVs. Well, I figure everybody does, cause I do.
Yeah, I do.
But you know, you got these, and it doesn't matter, it could be either way, but Democrat or Republican, but the Democrats talking about the American people are upset because of the affordability, they're upset because of the gas going up. I'm going, yeah, that's all good, that's all good statements, but you need to be thinking about too, why should we just depend on the soldiers and the military to do all the suffering during a time of war?
Yeah,
It should be all of us should get to suffer. All of us, you know, if our financially, if our 401ks go down, if it costs more for gasoline, maybe we won't go so much as we used to go.
that's the
Maybe we'll-
role we play.
Maybe we'll take a little bit of accountability for it
Yeah,
and participate in it.
Maybe we'll start producing and giving back instead of just taking and consuming.
And I've heard stories about World War II when there wasn't no sugar rush.
that's
It was
exactly-
all made up
That's what
to
I was
make
gonna-
everybody feel like they was part of what was going on.
It was like that wartime.
You know, and yeah, they weren't making automobiles because they were making airplanes, but so you had to drive an older car, or you might not get parts for your car. You know, things happened. Your wife might have to go to work in a sewing factory, so there would be uniforms for people to wear. There was sacrifice that goes on, and there's got to be. And as far as whether or not this is a good thing we're in now, I'm a Monday morning quarterback. I'll wait till it's all over, and then I'll make a decision for myself personally, but it'll only be for me. It won't be for nobody else.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the sugar thing, because that's what I remember my dad talking about it when he was a kid. Talking about the sugar rationing.
Yeah.
So
Well, I found where my grandmother still had some of hers. I guess she was getting ready for the next time to come around. She was gonna be ready. I didn't buy the Jello. I don't think they're gonna be good next time.
Oh, goodness. It
Because
might be.
they give you so many, so you could, so there wasn't that there was a sugar shortage, maybe there was a shortage of sugar that they were gonna sell you. That's what it was. You had to have a thing to go get 5 pounds of sugar.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Vouchers.
whatever, yeah.
yeah, I mean, think about
Well, they used to do that with money. Or gold. They give them your gold, and they give you a thing that said how much gold you gave them, and whenever it was time to get your gold back, you'd go take it in, and they give it back.
Well,
to
don't they still do that? That's a gold
I don't think so.
gold certificate or
What's
something.
that about?
I don't know.
Well, they
What
did
was
it
that
because
about?
gold was
$18.99.
like short. It was a shortage of it.
Let me
That's
see
how
it.
old that coin
Let me
is.
see it. Let me see. Can I see it? I'm not gonna steal it.
There ain't no C on it.
there's just dry.
I can't hardly see it with my eyes.
I that was pretty.
Where'd you
fun.
get this at?
That's an old
Somebody
thing.
gave it to you in a supermarket? Huh?
He
Wow.
dug it up out there in the
Anybody
yard.
else wants to
I
see
think
it?
there was some more of them out
I
there.
want to see it.
That's good luck, probably.
Every
If
time you throw it, it's
did it
worth
land
a
up
little
on
bit
heads?
less.
Oh yeah, it's a.
Knocked a little bit off of it.
I've got.
1898, you say?
$18.99.
Then you had pennies and stuff.
Wow.
I remember that year. That was a good year.
It was.
You're looking pretty good for your age, Norman.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate it.
now, did you dig that up? I mean, what's
1890.
tell it?
He
tell us.
believes in reincarnation.
You know, to me, 1969 seems like just yesterday.
Yeah. Shoot, what are you gonna be next year? 126?
This May, I'll be, no, not quite that much. I'll be 77.
77? Oh, okay.
Really? You don't look. You look
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
pretty good.
Oh, look, a day over 76.
Yeah,
No,
you're
you-
doing pretty good for
you do, you do.
77.
Well,
Anybody
Yeah.
else got
You
anything
will.
to do with it? Hebrews
It's a
chapter
compliment.
7.
well,
No, but I figured we'd have more connection in our country if we didn't have a bunch of gender confused communists running their mouth on Twitter and who use everything that we have in the country and then talk about pro Iran, pro terrorism. That really bothers me. I
Yeah,
just had
but
to say
that's
something
that's
about
more
that.
on the bigger. You know.
You know, you used to couldn't say all the negative things that are being said.
I mean, it sounds
You
like
couldn't threaten the president. You couldn't make disparaging remarks without having to worry about Secret Service or the FBI coming knocking on your door. And now, kind of because of late night TV, making jokes and poking fun
Right.
and calling it satire, we've got to where disrespect is just commonplace. Lying is just commonplace, and it's accepted. And if you stand up against it, you're the dummy. I just guess I'll be a dummy.
it is sad. It is good that we live in a free nation and we can say what we want to. You know, when we were kids.
Free speech.
If a kid said something about something you said, you'd say, this is a free nation or something like that. But and that's important that we have that. But we don't have any kind of sense of, if I can say it, that's one thing. If it needs to be said, or I ought to have some restraint in what I say, that should count for something.
Well, it should count for something.
Should be able to say, I don't have to say that.
Does freedom
Negative
does
thing.
freedom of speech guarantee you the right to stand up in a place that is supposed to be truth spoken and tell lies?
No.
I mean,
Yeah,
Well, it does. I mean, that's the.
that's where we're at.
yeah.
And it kind of started way
that-
back yonder, but
see,
it
I
definitely
thought-
started with Flint versus the people.
See, I've thought about that too. Before, especially in places like Congress or whatever.
Especially.
What would happen if the speaker or whoever walked into the room on Monday morning, said, all right, everybody raise your right hand
That's right.
and repeat after me,
I promise to tell
and put
the
them all
truth,
under oath.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
It'd get kind of quiet in there, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hear Pete.
That ought to be happening. That ought to happen.
Well, wouldn't that be someone
But
who
it
said
would
be
get quiet.
skeptic about raising their hand to something that coming out of the speaker's mouth?
Everybody in Congress
I
ought to
would
be
be,
held
I'd
to
be
that.
questioning. In
They're
these
not?
days,
I've always assumed that they
speaker's
were.
a human being
Yeah.
just like me.
We always thought of them as being diplomatic.
You know,
Diplomats, congressmen, men of,
Representatives of the people.
that you would respect and honor because of their character.
why you reckon the senators passed that thing that they knew the House wasn't going to pass,
Yeah.
so they could won't go back home?
Yeah. And
So
then
they
go
could-
tell everybody that they did something and the Republicans.
But they knew they
turned
didn't
it
do
down.
nothing and nothing's going to come from it, but they get to go home and campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is the only reason they wanted, that's the only reason they did it.
it was a campaign.
They knew it, the House of Representatives knew it,
They're getting
the
paid.
news people knew it,
And that's part of the reason.
everybody
why,
knew it.
Part of the reason why you need to have limits to term limits, is because all they do is constantly run for the next time they're gonna get elected. That's all they're concerned about, is continuing to get elected each time. If it didn't matter if they were gonna be elected, they could vote for whatever they wanted to, whatever they thought was best. But they vote only for what they think
Get some elected.
the people who are electing them will approve of.
And every year, the new
That
guys put up
sounds
to
like another.
introduce the bill to stop the insider trading.
Yeah.
And every year it dies.
Yeah.
They're
Inside
protecting
trading,
themselves.
But they always put the new guy up to do it. Because
Well, they're making money off
he
us,
or she
yeah.
hadn't gotten any money yet, so.
Right, like the, you get
So
Gilligan
it's,
to do it, you know.
It's just, but somehow we fell asleep at the wheel and we let it take place, so.
Well, I cannot tell a lie. I cut down that cherry tree. And I guess I took that statement from George Washington and thought it applied to everybody, that nobody inside of our elected representation could be telling lies, especially behind the podium.
Yeah,
I guess I'm naive and gullible, like Marie says.
No, that's the way it's supposed to be, but they have perfected the lie. They have
So
become.
when do we stop consenting to be led by lies? When do we decide to be in control and no longer consent to be led by lies?
Well, that goes back
Right now.
to the local thing you're talking about,
As soon
because,
as George
Well, that's
Soros
exactly what I'm
pays-
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
As soon as George Soros pays me to get out there, then I'll get out there and protest.
Goodness.
And I gotta be paid to be able to protest.
That's, yeah.
And that's why people think I'm crazy, because I'm doing what we're doing here without being paid.
Yeah.
oh, you know you getting your 80% off the top, you know that. Ain't nobody, you ain't fooling nobody.
I just,
That's why
Everybody
the-
knows
How
that.
much money I paid you?
All that. You get my 80% too, yeah. Preacher gonna get his 80%. Oh, that's
No, this right here
That's
is a
240
preacher that serves for free.
that's 320%. We can't have that, can we?
Oh, no.
Oh, we got to do some refiguring. Got to do some refiguring.
Well, if your hard cap's 1,000, then we got to.
I think
Everybody
if y'all are
here
watching
got-
this, that you ought to call your congressman,
everybody
call your
gets
senators,
paid.
and tell them to take
No
a
matter
oath,
what.
an oath,
You can't live off
that they will
pay.
no longer tell lies and will speak only the truth.
Yes.
That's true.
Are we still?
I think we should make that a dadgone.
I love the idea of making them swear.
Well, not make them if they can leave if they don't want to. If they don't want to do it, they can leave.
Swear.
They should take an oath just like somebody
You're right.
sitting on the jury box
I
or the
think so.
Weed out the bad
Witness
ones,
box.
won't
Do
even
not get up here from this desk and begin to speak to the rest of Congress unless everything you say is the truth.
Boy, that'd be a game changer.
I would be.
Yeah, I wonder how much extra money that the government would end up with, you know.
I
stop-
don't understand why it's that difficult.
I know. You're
We
right.
used to, you don't remember because you're young, but the ones of us that are a little older, we used to
need
to
a-
laugh at the House of Lords and the House of Commons in England. I mean, they would get to fist fighting sometimes. I mean, it was that funny. It was hilarious.
Really?
We ain't
I
got nothing
think
no
all of
better.
them need a line detector.
Well, ours don't get to fist fighting very
machine.
often, but you know,
We
they-
got a
Lie
dadgone
detector
old
machine
prune
when
sitting
they-
there
when
sucking
they
her
tell a
teeth,
lie,
ripping a
that
speech
thing
up
go,
from the president.
Hook
She
'em
should have
all
been locked
You
up.
lying. Yeah, you should.
And we're getting way.
Well, I'm gonna cut this off now because we done settled all the world's problems.
I made it
and-
work
Abby.
instead of changing.
But we do
Let
have,
me call you back, man, okay?
Just like, I'm gonna expand on what
All
Richard
right,
said.
all right, buddy, take care, man.
Real quick. Richard said have them all have a lie detector machine.
Yeah, they
Someone
ain't,
could
they
in-
ain't gonna go for that.
Well, you could invent like a box or something you put on them, and then when they go in, they sit down, and the minute they start lying, the thing,
Well, even-
turns
Even-
red.
Hey,
red
invent
up and make it
something on
blow
the
up.
phone. That you holding that phone, everybody's got a
Yeah.
phone. And when
But,
he tells a lie, that phone goes,
Right.
just like my buddy just called me, that thing started ringing. Ring, 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 he lying.